Welcome to another edition of One More Light with me, Val Kleinhans, where we break the stigma when it comes to mental health by talking with peers or experts. Today, I'm going to chat with a peer. I love doing these types of episodes because experts are great, but sometimes we want the real, authentic thing from the people who are actually experiencing it. Lissie Cox is here. She's one of my favorite content creators, found her on Instagram, and she's very transparent with her own mental health journey. Lissie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. And also that's like a huge compliment. So
Oh, well, it is. I mean, I mean it. You are so authentic with what you do. And I love that your bio says that you're our fat, disabled bestie. So why do you think the world needs a fat, disabled bestie? That was one of my first questions.
yeah, honestly, because everyone's afraid to have one.
Ooh, yes. Let them know.
Um, well, yeah, like everyone is afraid to be friends with fat people. Everyone's afraid to be friends with disabled people. Combining those into like one, it's like it's people are always telling me, "Oh, I don't see you as fat. I don't see you as disabled." And it's like, then what do you see me as? Because I'm
Oh,
fat
got
and
it.
I'm disabled, and that's like a big part of me is being fat and disabled. And so it's like I need people to understand that like if I'm your friend, me being fat and me being disabled are part of my identity.
Right. Got it. It doesn't have to be the label takes over everything, but it is part of who you are as a person. So we got to
Yeah,
embrace it all. I got it.
yeah. And I've seen people describe it as like my disability isn't who I am, but it touches every single part of my life. It's not my identity, but it has fingers that reach into every single part of my identity. I
Yeah.
can't do like or I am not this way because in spite of being disabled, I'm this way because I'm disabled, and this is how my disability affects us. And same with weight, because being fat in a fat phobic world is very hard.
Mm,
And so it's very much like these are the ways in which I am affected. Like these are the ways in which these two, like you might think they're minute, you might think they're not a big deal, you might not see me as fat and disabled, but when it gets down to it, they affect every part of my life.
yeah. But it doesn't have to be in the forefront of our minds. There's way more to you than just that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I'm totally like multifaceted and got all these different things going on, way too many different things going on.
Oh,
And at the same time, it's like a lot of what I have going on is doctor's appointments, and a lot of what I have going on is constant pain and mental health issues and
um,
blindness and all that stuff. So it's like, yes, I am an artist. I am a social media person thing. I am a fun 26-year-old, but other than that, I'm also an 80-year-old because I have degenerative disc disease and hernia discs and arthritis and all of this other stuff that goes wrong.
yeah, but you don't let any of that stop you from doing what it is you want to do and doing things that make you feel like the beautiful human that you are. If somebody else was listening to this and let's say they're struggling because they have some form of a disability or, they're struggling mentally, what would you tell them to just kind of get over that hump and go for what they want in life? Because you do it.
I would say honestly, that's a hard one, but I would start with something like it's not as easy as don't let your disability stop you.
Mm,
Because sometimes our disabilities do stop us. Like I'm blind, I can't drive. I'm never gonna go on that road trip, that massive I-40 from coast to coast road trip I wanted to go on as a kid. But
mm,
I can do things like go on road trips with my friends, or you know, um, I can do other things that I want to do. Like I'm blind, which means I have a really cool take on art and photography, which I've been really getting back into.
yeah.
Um, I am in a lot of pain all the time, but that gives me the creates the way the I use my disability as like as a creative creativity like boost, because I
Hmm.
can't do things in the traditional ways sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's all about like how can I do this and it end up cooler because of my disability.
Mm, got
And
it.
how did you
I
end up? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I totally feel you on that because I have what's called nonverbal learning disability. And supposedly it just means that I learn better when I hear someone verbally give me an instruction versus, experimenting with my hands or studying on my own and reading. Like I retain it a hell of a lot better whenever somebody speaks directions to me. But, because of that, I sometimes have trouble with social cues and like math. Don't ask me to be an accountant. That's why I'm not an accountant. Like I won't but you make up for it in other ways. Like, who cares? I use a calculator. I use a tip calculator
Yeah,
when I go to the
I do.
restaurant. Like, you can do other things. You're not that limited. And I really definitely want people to hear that message for sure.
And I also I think part of the message that I want people to hear is like, you're not limited because of your disability, but it's okay to feel limited sometimes. And it's okay to feel that grief that comes along with
Hmm.
disability and that like anger and any resentment that you feel because, like, yes, I can't do all the things I want to do. And that makes me feel a lot of different feelings. And
Mm,
that's okay. And it's like, I can do other things and I still need to hold space for myself that I can't go on the I-40 road trip.
yeah. No, I got you. Absolutely. So, what was it that inspired you to share what you go through publicly and put it on social media?
I've always loved Instagram, Tumblr, all
Yeah,
that
fun.
stuff. I've always been a creative person. I mean, before Tumblr there was DeviantArt. Before DeviantArt there was Neopets, and I would make those little pet page websites.
I know you're taking me back right now. I'm obsessed.
Okay, yeah, I played Neopets until I was 21, but
Yes.
pretty regularly. But yeah, so I was always doing something creative. Before Neopets, it was, art class at school.
Mm,
I wish every day had art class, but it's very much like I've always been creative. And then when Instagram came around, I remember being so excited because I had a crappy little Android phone before I got my first iPhone, and it was like 2011, and I was
mm.
like, oh my god, Instagram finally released for the Android, and I posted all the time, and I have
Yeah.
not stopped posting since because it's just such a for me it's such a great platform, especially when it's just photos. Not to be all like bring Instagram back, but it's also like there's reasons, and I can get into the nerdy things on why they're doing more reels now, but I'll hold that off. I'm very nerdy about Instagram and stuff. But yeah, so Instagram was just really like, as soon as I found it, I clicked with it. And it's
Mm,
like, I have always wanted to be that. Okay, so my main source of inspiration as a teenager was this place called Rookie Mag. I don't know if
oh,
you've
okay.
heard of it.
No,
Um,
tell me about it.
It was an online publication by teenagers for teenagers, basically.
Okay.
And it shaped me into who I am today. It's worth a look up if you there. It doesn't exist anymore. They just have it archived, but you can see all the posts ever
Okay.
on their website. But it literally changed my life because it taught me like how to be a teenager, kind of, because I was homeschooled. I didn't have
Mm,
friends. I lived in the middle of nowhere for part of the time. Um,
wow.
and it just gave me that like connection almost, because on Tumblr I had the Tumblr rookie mag tag, and I could find friends that had similar interests to me. But where I'm getting to this, other than just like a nostalgia vomit, is I always had this desire to be something bigger than what I was. I always had
Mm,
this desire to be a big editorial style photographer
yeah.
or a like super big acclaimed artist. And I was like really frustrated all the time that I could never get there. But what Instagram gave me the ability to do back in the day was just be myself and be my share my art as myself and share like little snippets of my day to day as myself and share like anything I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so Instagram really became like a rock, and it has been since 2011 or whenever they came out on Android. Um and I finally decided to like take it to the next level. But really that was just because I found out that I enjoyed the nerdy side, like the behind the scenes, the analytics,
Oh yeah, I'm obsessed too.
all of yeah. It's so much fun. And like I'll talk about like SEO and like and just like that kind of stuff that people
Mhm.
find boring, and I'll talk about someone, they're like, glad someone enjoys it.
Yeah.
That was an actual interaction I had with my aunt the other day. So
Oh god, well, yeah, no, you need some more Instagram baddies to chat about with that with. Like, because we're
yeah.
we're here, we're out here, and we would gladly talk analytics with you. You know, since we're kind of on the subject, I've always wanted to ask somebody that might benefit from this, but I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I've always heard that alternative text helps someone like you visualize the photos that we're posting. Is that true? Is it really that important?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a good amount of remaining vision. It's not good remaining vision, but I can usually see the photos, and I don't use my screen reader full time. I use it part time. But what alt text does is it embeds that so that when the screen reader, so if you have your screen reader on all the time, when you hit the photo,
Mhm.
it'll read out the alt text. And I just dropped a Gatorade. It was empty, but so it reads out the alt text, and that helps blind and low vision people, and not just that, but autistic people, people who can't grasp little details in an image as well. Anyone who could benefit from it, it helps them just be able to visualize it. And that's
Ah.
where the difference between alt text and image descriptions come in. Alt text is mainly for blind people and low vision people. Image descriptions can be really helpful for anyone who has any sort of need for like, hey, I can't figure out exactly what's going on in this picture. That's why image
Mm.
descriptions are really important, and alt text is really important. I will be honest, and I'm not great about adding both or either all of the time, because I am always very tired and I don't have good eyes. So,
You,
but
listen, no, we got to be doing that for you. Like I learned, I learned. Like honestly, I autistic never even popped into my mind that that would benefit
yeah.
somebody who's autistic as well. Never even occurred to me. So I'm learning a lot from that, and I really appreciate that. Would you
Thanks.
mind sharing just a little bit about your mental health journey in general, just so we can kind of get a perspective of where you've been?
Everywhere. I have bipolar, I
Yes.
have bipolar 1 disorder pretty severely. I have OCD, that was misdiagnosed as severe anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder from the ages of like 7 to the ages of like last year.
Oh,
So
there's
for
definitely a difference. Yeah.
almost 20 years, I had OCD, and we thought it was just anxiety disorder because I
Mm.
had a form of OCD. Part of most of the time, my OCD presents as true O, or pure O, sorry, where it's like all of your compulsions are inside of your head, and they can look a lot like the obsessions, and the obsessions can be
Oh.
compulsions. It's very, very fancy stuff. Not really. It's just brains work weird. But so yeah, I have OCD. I have pretty severe bipolar 1, which has taken me all over the place, including the mental health hospitals. Um,
Mm.
my teenage years were very, very, very hard. Um, I don't know like how deep to get here, but I had a really
However deep
hard
you want.
life from like ages like 9 to 20.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time staying alive.
Yeah.
Um and I honestly still do sometimes, not as bad anymore, but it just has become a reflex, like a knee-jerk reflex. Um because for so long my life was like, my brain was like so much going on, and it wasn't, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't normal, which again,
Mm.
like I couldn't figure out why. I had to find the why, but I couldn't figure out all the whys and stuff. And I also have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and I also have some undiagnosed neurodivergencies that no one's going to
Mm.
diagnose me with because I'm an adult woman. but but so it's definitely been a struggle and a journey,
Yeah.
and being undiagnosed with OCD for so long, I think really impacted my mental health because we were trying all the anxiety treatments and they didn't work. And they eventually diagnosed me with borderline personality disorder, which I'm not saying is a wrong diagnosis for everyone, but for me it was,
Got it.
because it was more of a for me it was more of a combination of the OCD, the PTSD, the neurodivergency, whatever it is, and the bipolar presenting as something else.
Yeah.
And so I am a huge supporter of BPD rights, or not rights, but like BPD solidarity type stuff, because
Mhm.
I mean that stuff will stay on your record forever, and there's so much stigma surrounding it
Mm.
that I still have it on my like medical history, but it's not, even though they said that's not what it is. And it honestly has just made it so much harder to get help for my physical illnesses because there's such a stigma around it. And
Oh.
it yeah, BPD is very tough, and I think that a lot of people could benefit from more research going into it.
Yeah, well, help us, maybe give us some insight. What stigma were you facing? What stigma were you coming across?
Um, so a lot of times the borderline personality disorder like image is like unstable, manipulative,
Mm.
and it's emotionally abusive, and it's like that's not always what it is. And for another thing, if it is, they still require like, basic humane treatment, because
For everybody, yeah.
you'd be surprised how some doctors in like physical health spaces treat people in the mental health space,
Uh,
or or physical health doctors do not treat people with mental health issues very well sometimes.
yeah, I understand.
Oh,
Oh, that's got to be hard. Can you
it's
talk about the accommodations that maybe you've used that have helped you both physically and mentally, whether that's coping skills or physical things that help you?
Yeah, I'm always stimming. Actually, that's like my main one. I am always stimming with my hands. This is an air pump from an inflatable like pool floaty that I got, and I'm just like I've just been going like this. This is my mouse like armrest, and it is so squishy and great.
Stress reliever, love.
It really is. And then I do stuff like I'm not good at grounding techniques. I have a lot of dissociation, derealization, depersonalization. And so grounding can almost like backfire, make that worse. But
Okay.
for me, grounding, the best way for me to do it is to like ground myself in my chair, like feel where I am in my chair, like where I connect to the chair. So that's a good one to
Yeah.
use a lot. Um, what other coping skills and like stuff like that? Um, I am creative. I have to be
Yes, that is a skill. That is a coping skill. Well, that's part of the recreation. I mean, I did outpatient therapy after I went through some suicidal ideation. And part of it was drawing and
yeah.
yoga and tai chi and playing brain games. Like part of it was that thing, just to take yourself out of your own head for a second.
Mhm.
Like honestly, doing this and anything creative that I do is so helpful for me as well. In addition to mindfulness, just simply understanding that, okay, let's focus on the moment and then let's let these thoughts just kind of come and go. They don't have to be that serious.
Yeah, and I also heard somewhere that like humans have a evolutionary desire to take raw materials and create something with their hands,
Hmm.
manipulate things on in the physical realm with their hands to get that satisfied feeling of like, hey, I just made this. This is great. And that's why a lot of people who work digital jobs are left feeling unsatisfied because they don't
Mm,
have that physical thing. I can't tell if that's true or not, but it made a lot of sense because then
yeah.
I was feeling satisfied with my digital art. So I got some air dry clay and I made she's a little cat lady sculpture. She's got stretch marks all over her. She's sitting
She's
cross-legged.
beautiful.
I love her.
Yes.
Um,
She's fabulous.
and I literally cannot get over her because like every time I look at her, I smile because I'm like, I made that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also
That's
do like
awesome.
therapy and like psychiatry and all that good stuff that you're, you know, supposed to do for your brain health.
Right. Do you find that it's easy to get the accommodations that you need, or did it take some time? What did
Um,
you have to go through to get that for
oh
yourself?
shit, I totally misheard the question. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Accommodations, I use a wheelchair. I ask for help as much as I can manage to make myself ask for help with.
yeah, that's a
Um,
big one because it sucks asking for help. It's so hard to
it's
ask
so
for
hard
help.
to ask for help.
Yeah.
Jinx. It literally it's so hard to ask for help, but I try my best to like ask for help when I need it. This is kind of like a disabled life hack where if you carry around a cane, sometimes when you need help, people will be nicer about it. Sometimes they won't, but other times you can just like be nice. They'll be nicer about you. That's such a like
Got it.
that is such a weird life hack where it's like let these people pity help you. Yeah,
But
it's
if
like
it works, it works.
it
If it
works.
works,
It
it
works. No,
works. We got places to be. We got to
examine
go.
the able people
Yeah.
with my poor disabled self. No,
No.
um,
But it's not
I
that you
also
don't need it either. It's not like you're
yeah
faking. I mean, it
no,
does help you.
it does help me. It's just like sometimes it's really frustrating when like able people are like, "Oh, can I help you?" And I'm like, "No," but then other times it's like, "Please help me." And it's really just it really matters on the situation and when I need help. But when um like when I'm in my wheelchair and someone like moves a cart out of the way for me, I'm like, I owe you my life.
Oh, yeah. Or hold the door, maybe. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's a
Like
big
just to
one.
get you through? Okay. Got it. So,
Mm,
one of my favorite posts of yours is one where you outlined
figure
your
it's like
anxious
me work
thoughts.
from home.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the Wi-Fi shitted.
Uh-oh. That's okay.
You
We
there?
we can. Yep, I'm here. I'm right here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I think my
That's
Wi-Fi
okay.
went out for a minute.
That's okay. We can always edit this too because it's not live. Not a big deal.
Cool.
But so my another question I had was one of my favorite posts of yours is when you outline your anxious thoughts in the caption that goes with the photo of you smelling roses. Like you
Hmm.
actually outlined your anxious thoughts and how they progressed in that post. First off, those thoughts are relatable. I love it. Secondly, how have you been doing when it comes to savoring the moment and being more mindful since then?
I have been trying. It's not always easy because I'm in a lot of pain all the time. My life is always a mess, but I am trying and I like to think I'm doing better. In fact, today on the way home from a doctor's appointment, I was like, "Mom, pull the car over." And she did. And I picked, I can't reach them right now, but I picked some little daisies and a little wild
Did you?
rose.
Oh,
And I like that was like a moment that I was like, I noticed like a cut I got on my finger from the thorns, and I was like, ah, I'm in this moment right now. As weird as that sounds,
no, yeah.
as weird as that sounds, it's like I can be like, aha, I was there. And then it's like I've been doing little things like trying to buy myself. I bought a plant today.
Mhm.
Um, I've been trying to like just take more random candid photos and not worry so much about like the posed
Yeah.
photos.
Or the aesthetic. I go back and forth with that all the time too. I'm like, this doesn't look like it would fit the feed, but it's like, who cares? It was fun. It was a
Yeah,
great
like
memory.
my post yesterday was like a photo dump about the Cheerwine Festival, which is a regional soda in North Carolina, and they have a
Yeah.
festival. And Neon Trees, who's saying like the
Yeah,
everybody talks.
yeah. I miss
They were
them. What happened
they
to
were
them?
at the Neon Trees, or they were at the Cheerwine Festival, just like in the middle of
Jealous.
downtown Salisbury, North Carolina. They're
Yeah.
not from here.
Oh, okay. So maybe that explains it. I was like, I feel like I haven't heard from them since everybody talks.
Yeah, no,
And
and it's
I
like
miss them.
yeah, it's like I have no idea why they were there, how they found out about the Cheerwine Festival. They're from like Utah or something.
Yeah. But here they are.
But it was just so cool. It's like I got to see them perform Animal live. And it's
Yeah.
like that's one of my favorite like mid 2000s songs or like 2010 songs. Um so it was just like that was very cool. I didn't take barely any pictures that night, just a few selfies and like some pics with my friend. We got some videos of us singing along to Animal and
Yeah.
then some pics in the car the next day on the way home. And it was really just like freeing to not be tied to the camera the whole weekend. Not be tied
Yeah.
to like the oh, is this gonna look good on Instagram moment.
Hmm. Did you ever play back those videos and go, "Oh my god, I'm singing so loudly. Like I'm so guilty
Yeah.
of that." And we
Yeah.
and I'm just like, "No."
And I feel bad because there's like kids and stuff around us, and it's like we are singing so loudly, we are so tipsy.
Nah, that means it was a good night. I think it was
Yeah,
worth it. So
so fun.
other than being creative and neon trees, what brings you happiness?
Um, my cat.
Oh, I have a cat too. They're the best. They
They're
know.
so
They know when we're having a bad day. Like there's something about cats. They know.
so my cat, my boyfriend's cats, my boyfriend, my best friend Sam, my friend Stephanie, my friend Sunny, my friend Greer. That's all my friends. Um,
Oh,
Target brings me a lot of
yes.
happiness.
Yes.
Um, Sewing, which I guess counts as creativity. Shoot. I bought a deck of tarot cards and they've been fun so far. I made this little like
Oh,
pad for them and they're wrapped up in here, real safe.
yeah. I've always
Um,
wanted to learn to do that, but I never like sat down and made the time. It just
yeah,
seems so
I mean,
interesting to
I'm doing it with just like one card a day when on days that I can remember to do a card a day.
me. Yeah.
But picking flowers makes me happy. So happy.
Yeah.
Picking flowers makes me so happy. That's probably like one of my favorite things. Doing just like random little silly goofball moments. Being a silly
Hmm.
little dude, you know? Like it's the
Yeah.
little as cheesy as it sounds, it's the little things.
It
But it
is
really
though.
is little things.
It is. It's just embracing reality is the word I'll call it. Like
Yeah.
your corporate 9 to 5 where you're sitting in a cubicle all day. It's like, no, this is not what humans typically
No.
do. It's not what they were naturally
Like that
supposed to
that is
do.
not real. Like it's real, but it's like that should not be real.
No, you picking flowers is real. You
Yes.
enjoying a night out with your friends, that's real. Us
Yeah.
creating and getting enjoyment from what we're putting out into the world, that's real. So I love that you use all of those as coping mechanisms for everything that you're going through. I can't wait to see what's next. What is next for you? What are we going to be seeing on Instagram? Anything?
That's a good question because I also don't know. I have kind of
That's a perfectly good
taken
answer too.
yeah, it's been kind of taking a back seat because of really bad health issues, but
Mm.
hopefully I'll be back again on like not just posting on the fly, you know, not being like, "Oh, I haven't posted on Instagram in 5 days. Do I have photos? Yep, here we go."
Yeah. I get that. We all need a break sometimes too. Last week was one of my those weeks for me. I was like, I just like let's just take a week, calm down. I booked a ton of interviews that week for all three of my podcasts, and I was like, let's just take a break from the gram for a bit. We'll focus on this and not try to do all of it at once because it gets
Yeah.
exhausting trying to do it all at once.
Yeah, and so I'm also getting more into Lemonade. That is such a fun app.
Is it? What do you like about it? Because I haven't used it yet.
I like the doodling. I
Oh,
like
okay.
photos. I like that it's casual. I like just how like fun and chill it is.
Yeah. I love it. That's the vibe we're bringing. That's I've
Yep.
learned so much
That
from
is
you.
summer 2K23.
Summer 2K23. We're here. We're loving it. Lissie, thank you so much for sitting with me and sharing your story. I hope we all learn from this. I hope we learn that accommodations are important and we're not limited. Period.
Yeah. I hope some other people learn to be a better podcast guest because I was oof.
You're not the only one. Okay, I tell this all the time because people say that to me. You would be like, if I had a dime for every time somebody said, "Oh my god, I sucked as a guest," I'd be rich. I would be being paid. I'd be paid to be doing this right now, and I'm not. I'm doing it like I'm doing it for fun. But the only way you could suck as a podcast guest is if you're on mute. I'm gonna just say that publicly now. That's the only way you could suck as a podcast guest. I promise. But this has been wonderful. I really, really thank you for your time. Lissie, thank you.
Thank you.